G'day there. I'm holding up what we're calling Mass Email Day, or alternatively, it could be called Bad Blood with Politicians Day. And there he is. There's Australia's Health Minister, Greg Hunt. And there is an interesting fellow. That's the Shadow Health Minister, the Labor Shadow Health Minister, Mark Butler. And here it is, Mass Email Day on Wednesday, the 26th of May. We desperately need your help. And please, if you can give me a little bit of your time, I'll explain why. So there was a global contaminated blood scandal. And essentially, in the decades before the 90s, if people went to hospital in Canada, in the UK, or lots of countries around the world, they quite likely might have ended up with a tainted blood transfusion. Before 1985, that might have been a transfusion that was tainted by hepatitis or even by HIV. And after 85, very well be the deadly virus known as hepatitis C. And tens of thousands were infected in Canada. And of course, tens of thousands were infected in the United Kingdom. And what the Canadians did was they had an inquiry in the 1990s, and that had immediately found out that the Canadian Red Cross are basically criminals, and the Canadians did the right thing and booted the criminals, the Canadian Red Cross, out of the management of their blood supply. And of course, they made compensation and help available to victims. The United Kingdom, which has Britain's largest ever legal inquiry, has also had help available for victims for almost 20 years. And they are also expected to make massive compensation payments to victims and their families, and rightly so. And yet here in Australia, victims who've written to years to Greg Hunt, who doesn't even reply, surely that must be against some sort of a code or law. It's like Mad Max. By the way, if you've seen the movie Mad Max, those in Australia, I imagine you have, but those watching internationally, it's getting a bit like Mad Max down here. It's a bit like the Wild West, and that's how they ran our blood supply. They were doing crazy things, like the Red Cross were advertising for blood donors in sexually explicit magazines in the 1980s. So they'd have pictures of showing you how to do sexual things, and some of them were pretty full on. And the next thing you know, you've got an advertisement asking you to donate blood. What were they thinking, the Red Cross? And of course, they hit an iceberg, and that iceberg was HIV. And those adverts, the advertisements in the sexually explicit magazines, they made sure they kept those hidden for 30 years until we found them. And so they were doing crazy things, and they fueled and accelerated Australia's deadliest medical scandal. It must be the biggest crime in Australian history. And this fella here, too posh, too important to do his legal duty and reply to victims and answer their questions, or even make sure there's help for families. And now we have this chap, Mark Butler. Well, we wrote to Mark Butler requesting a meeting with him on behalf of people with bleeding disorders who are affected, people like Australians with haemophilia, 1,750 of whom were infected with HIV and hepatitis C from Red Cross and CSL contaminated blood. Well, Mark Butler would not even agree to meet with us. He's completely indifferent. Apparently he's got too many meetings and too many champagne dinners. This guy wants to be our health minister. This guy here, too important. In the UK, the Labor Party are absolutely fighting. They fought for victims over there. And in Canada, they did the same thing. But not here in Australia with this character, Mark Butler. Just too important, and again, a bit like Hunt, just a bit too posh to care. So, we've got bad blood with these people. Why is the Australian life worth so much less than all the other lives affected by the global contaminated blood scandal? Huh? They get helped in Canada, they get helped in the UK. But because we're Australian, no help. And one of the companies that was involved is also manufacturing the AstraZeneca vaccine, which they're indemnified for. And guess what? Everyone was indemnified for bad blood as well. So please write to our health minister on Wednesday, the 26th of May. There's a letter here that I'll basically put the link in the bio, or you can copy and paste that, and I'll put a link down below on the other platforms that you can directly go to. It's written there for you. Please, Wednesday, 26th of May, Bad Blood with Politicians Day or Mass Email Day. We need your help, and join us on Wednesday, the 26th. Australians deserve to be helped too. Thank you.